The Vatican sent a message loud and clear that it believed man caused global warming and was an environmental threat to the planet. Shockingly, the only experts who spoke at the Vatican were all population control proponents, longtime advocates of abortion. My fears were confirmed. Where are all the pro-lifers? Where are the scientific experts who debunk global warming and know that this is an issue that is a stalking horse for population control around the globe? The unholy alliance between the Vatican, the United Nations, and George Soros. And one of the things that I want to share with you is, as I go through these slides, I'm going to show you all the people that are George Soros's acolytes, operatives, in fact, his brain trust, are there embedded at the Vatican. Without a doubt, I recognized a number of troubling facts. As Michael Hitchborn of Lepanto and LifeSite News has demonstrated, the Sustainable Development Goals are the abortion contraceptive goals of the UN based on a faulty premise that man is causing global warming. Language and lies are their weapons. When the words global warming all of a sudden started being debunked, the language morphed into climate change, as if climate doesn't change. And when climate change began to be debunked in the scientific community, that morphed into sustainable development. Sounds lofty, doesn't it? Who could be against sustainable development? Which has now morphed into, and after Hurricane Matthew, that's morphed into extreme weather. So if you listen to the language of the left, I mean, as all of you folks know, choice, all the language that they choose is focus grouped, it's used to lure people into passivity and complacency and to assume that their goals are lofty. Any extreme weather, I mean, you listen to your news, any extreme weather is now blamed on climate change caused by too many people on the planet. Climate change is based on faulty science and was manufactured as a justification, a ruse to impose population control on the world. Human beings create carbon dioxide, they argue, which is creating global warming. So we must reduce carbon dioxide. Therefore, the population of man must be drastically reduced. Yet carbon dioxide is the gas of life. It makes our trees green, our plants grow. And so what's really going on here with the UN? What's really going on? Well, the great MIT atmospheric scientist and physicist stated, and I think this is a great explanation of what the climate change movement is. Controlling carbon is a bureaucrat's dream. If you control carbon, you control life. Controlling carbon is a bureaucrat's dream. If you control carbon, you control life. And if you read Laudato Si, if you struggle through the exhortation, you will see that much of the language just mirrors what the UN and the left global warming agenda is promoting. The environmental movement is all about power and control over our lives, down to the very electric smart meter that's attached to your home. In the Vatican conferences, they continue to blame the real crises in the world on climate change. What really caught my attention and when I decided I can't ignore this anymore is on the Vatican website. There was a statement by Bishop Sarando. There is a nexus, a close connection between climate change and human trafficking. That's when I went, there is not even a recognition anymore of evil. Blaming climate change on a real tragic crisis. They're using a phony crisis like climate change and trying to bootstrap it to a real crisis. And they do this time and time again. After decades of the Vatican really stood as a firewall against the UN and its radical population control agenda. In fact, the very people who were battling in Beijing against the Vatican representatives are the very people now that are talking at the Vatican as their experts. That's when a handful of us began protesting, writing, and exposing the radical and dangerous and preposterous unholy lines between the Vatican and the UN and the Obama administration. Gradually, I began to see another even more disturbing pattern emerge. My research uncovered that George Soros and his operatives infiltrated the Vatican and were given free rein to direct the Vatican's global warming environmental agenda and orchestrating the Vatican's exhortation on the environment.